Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. There we go. Hello. We're back. Let me know. I'll give it a second. Let me know if there's any scuff. Because there's always scuff. It just depends how much there is. So let's get it sorted out of the way at the beginning so we don't have to worry about it again. Good evening, everyone. Hello there, Foxy Roxy, Unibear, Potato Cancer, Background Noise, Auxiliary Character, CH Riz, Hey Temp, how you doing? And of course Milliardo. There's still a box. How do I fix that? Box around my aviators. I guess. Wait, save. Okay, save. Save as new. I click save as new, right? Hello there, Chicken Tender. How are you? Scuff? Never heard of her. Yep, that's right. That's right. She's the part of flavor you can never escape. Alright, yeah. Good evening, Lung. Welcome, everyone. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk. As always. Now originally the main point of this stream had been Q&A. I was going to read a couple Maros, and I got a few. So we'll read those. And then we'll talk about the Barbie movie, because I saw it this afternoon, and it was an experience, to be sure. I have a lot to say. So I'll leave it at that. Put that little nugget of mystery in front of y'all, and we'll get back to it later. So we'll hang out, we'll chat, we chill, and then of course I'll put on like on the screen, you know, a notice of when spoilers are coming. How are you, Minna? I'm doing great, Chicken Tender. How are you? I've got a drink here, so I'm gonna crack open a cold one. I'm confident that we don't actually have any technical issues going on, so that's nice. Push back the stream a little bit because, you know, I'm trying to get everyone settled for bed, but at least the advantage of me being on the other side of the world is when I have to push my streams back, it doesn't push into the wee hours of the night for most of you. And plus it's Saturday morning for you guys, so ready? Here we go. Let me pull up my Maros, and we'll get to that. Hang on just a second. Let me come over here. So, let's see. How are you guys doing tonight? You know, the weekend's on its way. Or, you know, the weekend's kicking off. Are you guys enjoying it? Have any plans? Been a good weekend so far over here. We have the rest of our stuff, which is awesome, and a little overwhelming because now we need to set everything up, and I need to once again do some major decluttering to make sure everything has a place. If it doesn't have a place, it's not staying. I can't let the cycle continue. Things must have a place so that hopefully we have some hope of keeping on top of everything. And it just makes everything feel nicer, you know? So everything has a place, or it goes. And also, we gotta clear the way for more things to come into the house, because the shopping is too good over here. So, cheers. Ooh, oh my. I have a, I guess it's kind of like a cider. It's 5% alcohol. We'll see how that hits. And it's a certain, I forget the name of the fruit, but it's a certain citrus fruit that isn't on, you know, isn't really around in the States. I forget what it's called, but it's got a distinct taste. It's a very citrusy, you know, another kind of citrus fruit. Maybe a cross between like a lime and an orange. Taste-wise, a little bit. It's fun though. Yeah, very citrusy, but it's refreshing. So, Long is still hungry. I'm sorry, you're slightly hungry. Oh, okay, slightly hungry. Eat something now before you get really hungry, and then you don't have motivation to cook something or get yourself something to eat. And then you start feeling worse, but then you don't have the energy to eat something, so it's kind of a downward spiral. So, find yourself get a snacky, and then get yourself some good protein, and then I think you'll feel much better. Temp says, been lazy, slept through the midday heat. Hey, that's the way to do it. Apparently, that's what a siesta, like, in Spanish culture, Milliardo told me that's what a siesta is. And despite being slightly Hispanic myself, I was very confused when he was saying something about siesta, because I was thinking fiesta, but apparently a siesta is taking a nap in the middle of the day. I also saw, like, there's this, like, one YouTube channel, forget what it's called, but it's, like, this Vietnamese girl and her German boyfriend, and they live in Germany, and she makes all these really funny skits, and about, like, Germany and about Vietnam and the cultures and such, and I just watched one of her videos that was, like, someone showing someone else, you know, the office space, and the other person's like, why are we whispering? And she's like, oh, it's nap time. It's nap time in the office. We have our, you know, lunch, we take a power nap, and then we go on with the day. Yeah, sleep through that midday heat. Silly Minna, I'm never motivated to make food. Well, even if you're not your motivation is that you won't feel worse later. Even if you're not motivated, just do it. Get snacky. Get yourself some protein bars or something. I'm asleep because working tonight. Alright, what is that? Fifth Venom. I don't think I've seen you before. Hello, welcome. I hope you get some good sleep. I don't know what time it is for you. But I hope you can get some good rest, especially if it's kind of like daytime. But I'm assuming if you work nights, you're used to managing that. So, hello there, Darren Root. Honestly, I'm interested in the aftermath of the Barbie movie. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't worry. Don't worry. CH Riss says, I plan to explore the far reaches of cyberspace. Watch YouTube. That's a funny way to put it. Oh. It feels like padding out your resume. It's like, oh, put these dramatic words. Watch YouTube. Like, makes it sound more dramatic and more productive. Man, I hate YouTube shorts because I watch way too many, and I wish I could, like, turn off the YouTube short features. Because, like, the videos are great, but it's such a sinkhole, and so I hate that. But a lot of the videos are really good. Anyway, okay. I've had kendo. Oh, that's funny. It's spelled, you know, like Ken and Do, but it's kendo. It's a good one. It's a good one. WebM Aristocrat. New drinking game. Each Barbie and Ken you see on Halloween take a shot. It's kind of a far way away. I think if anyone wants to, like, dress up as Barbie and Ken, I think they should do the roller skating outfits. Those, well, then again, it's not winter, but it's like fall, so it might be kind of cold. There's a lot of outfits, obviously, because it's Barbie. So, but I thought the roller skating one was pretty fun. All right. So let's get to the couple questions I got through Maro's. Let's see. Let's start with favorite pasta shape and sauce. I feel like the pasta shape a lot of times depends on, like, what you're having with the pasta. I do like a, let's see, and I guess I shouldn't confuse, like, pasta with spaghetti, because, like, spaghetti's, you know, I think that's a different category. I do like the pasta that's, like, the kind of thick, flat one. That's not just round, it's kind of that thick, flat one. That's used with, like, Alfredos a lot, I think. Those ones good. Pasta shape. I haven't had pasta in a while. I don't think there's any particular shape that I'm, like, drawn to. And sauce, like a super easy, meal that my family would make sometimes. Or mostly, like, it was an easy meal that, like, I could make as, like, a kid and, like, teen, was, you just, like, brown some ground beef, take a pasta sauce, you know, mix it in with the ground beef, get it all, you know, heat it up, and then just have your pot of noodles, and then you mix that together. You know, put some cheese or something on top. That makes it super simple, easy meal. A good Alfredo, like an Alfredo with shrimp on like I said, those like thick flat noodles. I like those a lot. Pasta shapes, I don't know. I'm not really sure. At some point, I want to get around to like making pasta more, but like my family already has like a nice pasta making set of stuff, and I've got like other things I'm working on, like skill wise, that I'm teaching myself, that I'm kind of like letting that be on the back burner until like another day when, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm close by or I feel like getting my own stuff. Anyway, let's see. Okay, what other questions? Alcohol poisoning speedrun? No, never. I think they have siestas in Spain too. Things just shut down a little bit in the afternoon. It's great. I like that. I'm glad that they've adopted that as a culture. I feel like it would make it easier for like getting kids to nap too if everyone else was napping. Maybe, then again, not. Kids tend to not want to be that cooperative. I like penne, the tiny tube. Is it penne? I think it's penne. I like penne, empty tube, and the fan-shaped ones. Oh yeah, like the bow tie ones. Those are fun. I don't think I would do it as much as an adult, but it was always fun playing with the different like pasta shapes of like how you eat them, because you could like, I don't know, eat them in fun ways because they were fun shapes. Let's see. I know a random fact about Ken. Oh, do share. What is your random fact about Ken? Fun fact, Magic Ken was accidentally created from a K club. Wow. I feel like there was so many like shout outs to things in that movie that like went over my head. As far as like Barbie lore, or I guess fashion things, because I saw a friend post something about one of the necklaces Barbie wore that was like some Chanel necklace from like 1995. But alright, let's see. How is Japan treating bread family? What do you think are the top 3 things to do while in Japan? Well, we are loving it here. We are every day getting closer to being like completely settled in. I feel like there's always ups and downs to your days. Like some days like you're out doing a lot, and some days you're like trying to get stuff done around the house. But we've done lots of exploring so far. There's beautiful beaches very close to us, and so that's awesome. It's just beautiful. So I think like sightseeing, like enjoying the natural beauty around you is probably like one of the top 3. We're, I guess, somewhat rural. We're not like super in a big city or anything. Food for sure. Lots of good food. And I guess, I don't know if you'd count under that umbrella of like enjoy all the vending machines everywhere, because like you'll just be, you know, anywhere basically, and there's a vending machine, which is always very handy. And third, I don't know. There's so many different like things to do in different parts of Japan, I think. I guess find whatever is like an interesting thing in like that particular location you're at and go enjoy that. So yeah, that would be my advice. But we're settling in, having a lot of fun. It's very beautiful. Very happy with the place we're at and location and everything. Let's see. Okay, what's the easiest bread you've made? Easiest. I mean, my one recipe I go to all the time, which actually I have my starter sort of dehydrated. I like dried it on parchment paper before we flew over here, and tonight I meant to like rehydrate it, so hopefully I can slip that in before I go to bed. Hopefully, as long as no like kids are like need me right away when I get done streaming. So we'll see. What was I saying? I was saying, oh, easy bread. I want to say, I guess, I don't know, like the one I use all the time, which is the like, it's from Venison for Dinner, because I love her, and her like soft sourdough master recipe. I've done that one so many times. That's my go-to recipe, because I can make like double, like single, double, triple batch and make it all in one big thing, as long as I have a big enough container to like rise it in, and then I can make it any shape I want. So I would say maybe that one. It might not be easy in the sense of like, especially if you're a beginner trying to like, you know, figure out exactly like the ratio, because she gives a little bit of a range with like how much flour you put in. So it takes some practice to understand like what is the right like texture particularly when you're like kneading the dough. Because like you want it a little bit wet and sticky, but not too much that it's like making a mess everywhere. And if it's too much flour and it's not sticky enough, that means it's like too much flour and then it becomes kind of dense. So I guess that one, because that one's my favorite and I love that recipe. At some point I need to make like actual like hard, like the artisan loaf where it's just like the flour, water, and salt, but I like the soft bread, so that's what I make. Alright, let's see. You learning the language as well? Yes, doing my best. I know arigato gozaimasu. That one's my definitely the one I like learned right away and used the most. What is it? And I've kind of been picking up on things like kudasai is kind of like please, like when you're like checking out, you know, the little machine will be like kado kudasai, which is mean like please take your card. So there's kind of little things, or there's ikitakimasu, which is I think kind of like, you know, please do something kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I need to figure out how to like actually kind of sit and study. I've been trying to do Duolingo, but then if Doe Kid's around and he sees me doing it, he wants to do it, but then he does all the wrong answers and I run out of hearts. So I feel like there's a lot of resources. I just need to figure out how to like properly dive in and like actually kind of put my mind to studying it. But there's a lot of things I kind of have on hold until we get the house set up, because I'm like, I'm not going to go forever with unpacked boxes like I've done at other houses. So like that's the priority, is like get everything set up and all squared away so we can keep up with the house and everything is nice and we can enjoy it. And then I'll, you know, try and work on some of these other things, you know. But I definitely want to learn the language. I feel so self-conscious and like awkward, like not knowing it, but also like I feel awkward even saying like the little bit I know, because I don't want to like come off as weird. But then I remind myself, like, if it was reversed and there was a foreigner in my country that was like doing their best to like speak the language, like I think like they appreciate you trying in your broken Japanese versus just English. Though most of the time I don't even like speak hardly any English. I've just gotten very good at nodding, like doing kind of like little bows and like gesturing. Like I was told like it's rude to point, so I try and like gesture more. And so like I just kind of come up and I'm just kind of silent and I just kind of nod and, you know, communicate by like saying hi. Like if they ask for, you know, if like I'll hold up my bag, you know, if I have a bag, most of the time I try and bring a bag. So I'll like hold up my bag and I'll kind of nod or kind of do a little like half bow and, you know, do the card, and at the end just be like arigatou gozaimasu. that's that's where I'm at right now. It's yummy. Vending machines are handy. If you're hot and sweaty, a lot of it's easy to rehydrate. Yeah, I think it's the thing is it's like it gets really hot here, so they know like you need water places and different. They have like lots of sort of nice like electrolyte drinks and lots of other. I mean, they have so many fun drinks. That's the thing I've noticed is like no one like carries around water, and like when you're at a restaurant, you get very like small sizes of water. That's like the one thing is they never have enough water or enough napkins when you're like out to eat. But like so, oh man, oh yes, the rest of our stuff finally came. So I have this blue Yeti cup that I use all the time, and it's just my habit to like always take with me, and I've missed it, so I'm happy to have that back. There's a lot of depth to JP words. Yep, I'm lucky that Milliardo has a much like better grasp on the language than I do. So he's a lot more educated and like knowledgeable on like, you know, the language and the culture and a lot of different things. So he's my guide. I can like rely on him to kind of help guide me through and give me pointers. So it's nice. Ikitakimasu is a very formal way of accepting something from someone. Cashiers will use it to make you give them money / stuff sounds super fancy. Ah, okay. Yeah, I think I'll probably get Temp to teach me some Japanese. It would be fun. Maybe one of the off collab streams can be him and Milliardo trying to teach me Japanese. It'd be funny. Let's see. List of rumored movies because of Barbie movie, Magic Ball 8, Uno, Thomas the Tank Engine, no, Candyland. Oh no! Oh, I don't know what they'd do to my boy Thomas, though. I don't know. I hate the, like, animated faces on, like, whatever newer, like, I like the classics, you know, where it's only the eyes move. That's the kind of Thomas I like. At some point, I will introduce you guys to my Thomas cult, but that'll be for another stream. I've heard there's a problem with schools not keeping their kids hydrated during gym. I don't know, Temp could probably speak to that. I couldn't. How did you guys adjust to the time change? It was a little rough for like a week. I think we landed... I want to say it was 2 in the afternoon, local time. But maybe it was later. It was definitely, it felt like, I think it was later by the time we, like, got off the plane, got to the hotel. It's a, like, what? 11-hour flight? No, it's more than that. Oh, I hear a dough baby. Okay, hang on. I might need to run down real quick and check on him. But it was like a weekish of like, the hard part was the kids would wake up like in the middle of the night, but it would be like, they would start their day. So like at first it was like 1 or 2 a.m. And so we were all like kind of awake, or like us, you know, parents were trying to like half sleep still, but it took like over a couple days, or like most of the week, that it was slowly like they'd wake up at like 2, and then they'd wake up at like 3, and then they'd wake up at like 4, then we got to like more 5 and 6. Anyway, I'll be right back. And we're back. Alrighty. Ooh, my glasses are falling again. Alright, thanks for your patience, everyone. I'm back. And in the chat we were talking about the time thing and how different it is that the sun's up so early at it's like starts rising at like 5:30 in the morning. So by like 6 it's light outside. So it feels more natural to be awake at that time when it's like, you know, already light out. Though the disadvantage is like, you know, it gets hot even faster. Like you go out at like 8 or 9, which other places I've lived like would still be kind of okay in the morning, but it's already hot. So it is what it is. But let's see. All right, so let's wrap up the questions so we can talk about the movie a little bit. So the Barbie movie. I got some thoughts to say on the Barbie movie, and I totally didn't almost just knock over my drink. So, ooh, let me just drink some more of that. So citrusy, so nice. All right, let me catch up. Let's see. Making sure I'm not missing anything. I tried submitting a question, but the site is in Japanese. Not sure if it went through my button presses. I wonder if was yours the one about pasta, because I got that one 3 times. The one about what was my favorite pasta shape. I think some browsers have like a translation setting or plugin. That's what I do to navigate it. Hey, nice to see you again. Great to see you too, timestamp. That timestamp guy. You do great work. I appreciate it. I am out of names. It's a funny username. I have no object permanence. Who is this? I'm the baker in your dreams. I sneak into your home and leave bread in your cupboard. But also, for some reason, when Joe Kid was a baby, like a pretty small baby, I would get this question, which I don't think I've ever gotten with Joe Kid. So like, with the first kid I got it, but I didn't get this question with the second. But people kept asking me, does he have object permanence yet? And like, I feel like I got that question several times. But then came the day where I was like, no one asked me if I was ready for him to have object permanence. When it got to the point where he like remembered things. And it was kind of had its own problems. I don't know. That was just a funny side thing to me. Now mine was about VTubing. I'll try again. Hang on a second. Let me I'll refresh my Maros. If you want, you can just type it in the chat. I mostly did the Maros just to kind of keep everything in one place, but we're on stream together, so you can just post it in the comments on the stream too, in the chat. Alright, the other questions I had were, let's see, now that you've seen some taco? No, not taco. Tuku, what's going to be the one you continue? AI, so you should check out Kamen Rider W. I think this is a Milliardo question. I feel like there's something I'm missing. I know plenty about Kamen Rider. Actually, not like a ton, but like I know what Kamen Rider is and like the gist of it. One of my Yor from Spy Family, one of my little Yor models is sitting next to the Kamen Rider model. They're hanging out, drinking some sake. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the question means. I'm assuming different shows. But I feel like I'm missing something. I'll have to ask Milliardo. Let's see. Does the set of all sets that doesn't include themselves include itself? A set of what? Dishes? A set of dishes? Oh, I hear Dough Baby again. Maybe I'll just bring him up here. Hang on a sec. Alright. I'm going to have my baby delivered to me, so just a second. Alright, and I think Milliardo is going to answer the question in the chat. I feel like, so it feels like a tongue twister or some sort of like logic or rhyme thing. Does the set of all sets that doesn't include themselves include itself? I have no idea. No idea. I don't know, I'm not super great with that kind of stuff. Alright, but that was the questions. Let me check chat again to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Yeah, Daniel Sierra, you can, either, like, if it's a long question, I guess you can break it up, but just post it in the chat and I'll answer it. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it. Hi, I'm new to the channel. Curious, how come you moved to Japan? What's it like being a VTuber while raising a family? Moving to Japan was a job-related thing, not connected to VTubing, but happy coincidence. It was something we've been wanting to do for a while, so we're super stoked to have this opportunity, because, like, it's really cool over here. VTubing with a family is, a lot of intermissions for a baby. You definitely, you know, are limited with your streaming time. I feel like there's also, like, a balance I try and hit of, like, obviously, Dough Baby's adorable. Everyone loves Dough Baby. I don't blame them. They want all the Dough Baby content. At the same time, VTubing is about me. I don't want, like, Dough Baby or Dough Kid or any of my, you know, family to become content. So while they're, like, in and around and kind of, you know, part of the streams because they're part of my life, I do my best to keep, like, a good boundary, of between, like, you know, between the content I make for VTubing and them. So that's just kind of a side note. It's, I don't know, it's something I'm just, like, I enjoy doing. It's pretty fun. I like talking, so, it's kind of fun being able to talk and do stuff, and, it's also fun because Milliardo also likes doing that, so it's something we can kind of do together. Oh, did he go back to sleep? Oh, I guess he's good then. All good. All good. Okay. His answer, okay. Toku, oh wait, how do you, let's see. Tokusatsu, a special, oh, okay. Special effect fantasy. That's what you mean by Toku or Tokusatsu. I always think of that genre. I guess kaiju is like a genre within that other genre. Because the kaiju is special effects with monsters, from my understanding. Let's see. It's always a big question how kids will react years later to finding out they were recorded and posted online. That's a big thing, and I think about it sometimes of like they don't have any say, especially at like a young age where they don't understand the internet or like the consequences of having themselves put on the internet. Even just pictures online, like even just posting your pictures of your kids online is risky because there's many people that will take the pictures and use them for nefarious purposes. I don't know. I feel like probably most people listening right now kind of grew up in the wild west of the internet. You know, the early, you know, whatever 80s, I guess more 90s, whatever. You know, that was before me, but you know, the early 2000s, especially like the wild west of the internet. And now I feel like people are being more cautious with it. But yeah, we do our best to keep as much like anonymity for our kids, like, you know, as little of a footprint as possible for them. Just so, yeah, like they don't have stuff that hangs around them as they get older. But yeah, so, you know, hearing their voice kind of in the background is fine. I don't know, it's a balance. It's, you know, VTubing with a family. You know, family life is very busy. There are so many things that I would like to do or need to do, and, you know, how I prioritize my time, you know, holds a lot of, you know, it's hard to get everything done, so I have to, like, pick and choose. But I really enjoy VTubing, and like I said, it's something Milliardo and I enjoy doing together. And so it's a lot of fun. And so it's just kind of, you know, kind of finding where the priorities are, you know, obviously, like, you know, put the most important priorities first, and then kind of figuring out, you know, how hobbies and stuff stack out from there, you know? So that's kind of how it's been. I would really love to, now that, you know, once we're kind of, mostly once the house is unpacked, I would like to figure out a more consistent, like, stream schedule. I feel like in our previous place, my social calendar was filled up so much, it was hard to, like, fit in streaming. Here, I'm trying to purposely, like, slow down my social calendar to kind of have a more steady pace of life, and not be running around all the time. And so if I can achieve that and kind of have a steadier rhythm to everything, then hopefully I can fit in probably like twice a week streaming, with like some gorillas thrown in. I feel like that's a good balance. And also I gotta figure out like the time slots. You know, right now it's morning for a lot of people. It's a Saturday morning, but you know, still might be being busy. So I don't know, I'll try some stuff out. But yeah, so anyway, that's that question answered in many roundabout ways. Let's see. I was taught in the 90s never to use your real name or real pictures of yourself online because strangers might come to your house. Now there's apps to bring strangers to your house, yeah. It's an interesting realm. It's an interesting time to be living in, technology-wise. There's so much that has happened in just the past, like, 30, 40 years. It's crazy. Alright. So, I think that covers the questions. And now, as you see, I am by the beach. I got my sunglasses on. Very much fits with the Barbie vibe. I feel like a lot of the movie takes place around the beach. So, okay, where to start? Man. Where to even start? Okay. So, first things first, I get to go see it with some friends, which was nice. And actually, I think this was my first time leaving, like, both kids with Milliardo. Dough Baby's a much bigger baby now, and, like, he'd had a good nap, and his belly was full, and the theater was close by, and I was like, alright, I think it'll be okay. It's always a me thing. It's always a, like, am I prepared to, like, go outside my comfort zone? Like, I know the baby will be okay, but it's, like, hard to be away from them. But, like, they did good. They were fine. I wasn't too worried. It's always just kind of a little weird. Like, especially when they're, like, babies. Like, he's becoming a bigger baby. Like, he's walking a bit now, which is really cute. But still, he's, like, my baby. It's a little different when they're toddlers. Toddlers, it's a little easier to, like, take a break. It's a little easier to be like, alright, you go run around, have someone else chase you. I'm gonna have a break. So yeah, I was able to go, just me and my other mom friends, to the theater. I wore, like, my most pink clothes, which is, like, this kind of flowery skirt, and this kind of flowery, sort of button-down shirt. So yeah, I got to go to the movies with my friends by myself, so that was fun. And gosh, I laughed so much at that movie. I laughed so hard, like, busted out, like, slap my knee laugh. There's many chuckles, many giggles, and some moments that were just hilarious. Oh, there's so much to say. Okay, let's see. So, my sort of expectations coming into this movie. Alright, so I'll talk about that. So my mindset coming into this movie. From what I had, like, sort of heard about it, I was going in expecting, like, you know, that there was gonna be things I wouldn't, like, enjoy or agree with. Honestly, I was mostly going for Ken. I had to experience Ryan Gosling as Ken. Even just this, like, I haven't even really seen any clips, but I'd heard a little bit, and I'd seen, like, the outfits he was in, and I was like, I've got to experience this. So I mostly went for Ken. And I'll have to ask Milliardo where you found this from, but Milliardo told me that when Ryan Gosling, like, accepted the part, like, he had gotten the offer, and then, like, later he had seen, like, his daughter's, like, Ken laying, like, face down in the dirt outside, and then he, like, took a picture and sent that to the director, like, I have to tell Ken's story, like, I will be Ken. So that's kind of hilarious. I don't know if it was, like, in an interview or something, but Ken was great. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm like, how do I even start talking? Let's see. Barbie movie sounds fine to bring a baby. It's more like he's mobile. He is a mobile baby. He is starting to be like small babies in arms are pretty easy. Once they get a little bit older to where they're, especially once they're crawling and then walking, that's like making the transition to toddlerhood. And they are very, very wiggly at that stage. And so it was more for me to be able to actually like sit and pay attention to the movie and not be trying to keep him quiet. So I'm glad I was able to, that like it would all work, you know, it was good timing, worked out for being able to leave them here and go see it and come back, and they had a great time and it was all good and I had a great time. So it was more that. But let's see. Oh, sounds like I'm far away. Oh, I kind of adjusted. Okay, how about now? Ken posting has been hilarious. I need to look up more memes now that I've seen the movie. Let's see, why is it sounding far away? I'd kind of adjust the sound. Testing. Whoa. How about now? Why is it going far away? Man. What's it doing that for? Let's see. Advanced audio properties. Testing. Up. Testing. Did I mess something up somehow? No change on voice. Okay, hang on. Let me page the technical support. Hang on. Testing. The little bar is not... It was jumping into red too much. And then, now it's being too quiet. Alright, while you fiddle with that, I will go grab the dough baby. It is hot mic right now, by the way.
Tech support, mic check. How's that sound, guys? OBS does this weird thing where if you have the volume set above the baseline decibels and you then go to adjust it, it automatically like resets it to 0. So what probably happened is she went to turn it down and moved the bar a little bit, and that zeroed it out instead of just decreasing it a little bit.
Alright, we're back. Alrighty. So. Alright. Alright, I've been waiting all day to talk about this movie. Okay, so. Opening, I feel like the weirdest... maybe not weird, like, I was expecting to not like it. But, like, most of it I, like, really enjoyed. The one scene that I, like, felt was a little unnecessary was the very opening, which was, like, you know, that opening scene started, I should probably, let me, I guess I should, yeah, let me get, like, let's put up something to show that we're about to talk about spoilers, so. Text. Let's do spoiler. Spoiler alert. Okie dokie, let's see. Spoiler alert starting now. Alright, here we are. Here we are. Let me take another drink. Oh, I tried. Well, I tried to like chug a little bit, but it was a little too citrusy for that. Oh, now he's crying. Oh yeah, now he's crying. Okay. Okay, now I'll go get him. Hang on. Alright, we're back again. So, yeah, I was expecting not to like it as much as I did. Yeah, the one sort of like unsavory scene was the very beginning, where the opening scene started, and I was like, oh man, I'm ready for this fever dream. It was like all these girls just in this like barren, rocky field playing with dolls, and it was. Oh, I think you need a new diaper. Hang on. This is what it's like. VTubing with the family. Oh, especially, I don't know. This is hard to find. Oh, yeah. Do you need a new diaper? I think that one's full. Let me call for a new diaper. Hang on. Alright, anyways. So, yeah, that opening scene was a little weird. It was like girls playing with dolls, and it was like, oh, for forever, girls have had dolls, but they've only been baby dolls, where the girls can only pretend to be mothers. That's alright, but isn't good enough. It's not good enough to play with dolls and pretend to be a mom. That's not empowering. So then it had like a giant... Oh, come here. Come here, baby. I know. I know. Hang on. Oh, okay, I'm gonna mute for a second. Alright, now I'm bouncing the baby. Oh, poor guy, he was upset. But yeah, so it's like, it's kind of like, oh, they only play with baby dolls. That's, you know, not enough to, wanna play with your baby dolls. And so then like a giant, like huge Barbie just is like then there, and all these all the little girls are like looking up at the giant Barbie in the like black and white striped bathing suit, which is like the classic first Barbie. And then they start like breaking their dolls and like smashing them and kicking them and throwing them in the air. Which yeah, that was the only, honestly that was the only scene that was like a bit much, where it was kind of like, really, was that necessary? Oh, I know you feel the same. Okay, let me bounce you. Oh, come here. Oh, I know. Shh. They know when you sit down. They don't want to sit down. Come here. Shh. Here we go. Okay, now we're good. Babies can tell when you sit down, and they don't like it. You must always stand. It is the rule. Alright, anyway. So, yeah, that was the only part that was a little strange. Easy. But overall, what I appreciated about the movie was, like, I knew there was going to be like feminist rhetoric, kind of thing, but surprisingly, none of it felt like message fiction, like, pushing like a certain message. What I appreciated is the movie didn't really take itself too seriously, and it was just fun. So that made it very enjoyable. So yeah, I wasn't expecting it to, just be fun, Yeah, there wasn't really much or anything that, like, rubbed me the wrong way or anything. So yeah, that was nice. Alright, so I want to, like, describe part of it to you guys. Here, real quick, let me check chat. Let's see, when I was younger, someone kept playing Barbie girl to annoy me. Same reason with Chipmunk movies. Yeah. Alright, so, anyway. Alright. Let me think. Scattered brain. I feel like that's the other part of being a VTuber with a family, is like scatterbrain everywhere. So let me describe something to you. So in this movie, there's, the two sexes, boys and girls. Controversial, I know. And, or I guess, yeah. Anyway, so, the movie opens, it introduces one of these sexes has, like, power over everything. They run everything, they control everything, they all live in the big houses, they throw all the parties. The other sex is kind of just there, waiting to be acknowledged by them. And, like, that's their only role, is to be acknowledged by the other sex. And, like, they're nothing outside of that. Like, that's their only role, is to just be, like, arm candy to the other sex. And then something happens, and, two of them have to go into the real world. One of each of the sex. And so they go into the real world, and they experience things are much different over there. And so one of the sexes is very surprised, because they were expecting it to be just like where they came from, or that they had saved that world. But the interesting thing is the other sex, the way the other one reacted was, I'll never forget, one of the lines was like, that one saying they felt respected and acknowledged. That they go into this, into the real world, and they finally feel like a person, and like something more than just an accessory. And so then they go back, and they try and set that up, go a little too far, but anyway, like, if I describe it that way, it's like, you could easily see it being like, oh, the women are just like the arm candy, and then, you know, they're stuck in this world, and then they go somewhere, and they realize, like, oh, like, I could be more than this, and I'll go back to my other world and make, like, a difference and change things. But it was actually, this was the arc of Ken. This was Ken's arc. Which is, like, crazy. Like, there's, like, the thing that gets me is, like, it's the part where it's, like, someone asks him for the time. And he felt, like, respected. And, like, a person... like, what were the Barbies doing to the Kens to be at this extreme? I feel like this was almost some sort of meta commentary. You know? Like, that's what it, like... It's interesting. Like, there's, like, all this feminist rhetoric in there of sorts. Though, honestly, there wasn't that much. I feel like the rhetoric that was said, like, I took it all as, like, a meme. Like, it was such, like, a meme, the whole movie. But it, like, I feel like the arc of Ken illustrated, like, the arc of how, like, feminists describe, like, women having to rise to power. And so, you know, then the thing is too, Ken wasn't even trying to be a bad guy. All he wanted was to be, like, acknowledged by Barbie and to, like, hang out with her, because that was, like, his sole purpose for existing. Like, from his design is, like, it's Barbie and Ken. Like, what is Ken without Barbie was, like, the whole point. And she always was, like, you know, every night, it was, like, technically, I guess they were, like, dating, or, like, there were a couple, there were so many Kens. But, like, she was classic Barbie, and he was, like, classic Ken, or whatever. And so, like, he's nothing without her. And so, like, when he went to the real world and realized, like, oh, men rule the world here, and he was, like, there's him just discovering that there's more to life than being an accessory to Barbie. And then the fact that, like, he discovers, like, patriarchy. But he just wants to be a cowboy, man. He thinks patriarchy has to do with horses. He got this fly cowboy outfit with the fringes, and he's, like, feeling himself, and he's like, this is great. I want to feel great about myself. I don't know what this patriarchy thing is, but, like, it's making me feel great that, like, I can be an individual, and, you know, I'm going to take this back, and I'm going to make changes in the Barbie world. And there's, like, but then, you know, so they go a little too far, I suppose. Where, like, all the babe Barbies get, like, brainwashed, where they're like, oh, we're done making decisions or having to, like, have any power. You know, why be president when we can just, you know, beer broski, you know, bring beers to the broskies, or whatever it is. At the, gosh, what was the line? Moso doso, oh gosh, what was the line? The way he called, so, like, they took over the dream houses, the Kens did. The Kens took over the dream houses and, like, made them theirs. And he called them the, oh, what was it called? Hang on, maybe I can look it up, because it was, like, the funniest, like, string of words. That was hilarious every time he said it. It was, like, dojo, mojo, something cost, I don't know, it was hilarious. I'll have to look it up. Or, something like that. But, like, at the end, he, like, admits that, like, when he realized that the patriarchy wasn't just about horses, he kind of lost interest. He just legit wanted to be a cowboy, man. All he wanted to do was be a cowboy. Like, there was so much, like, horse decor all around Barbie Land, especially Ken's house, after he, like, took over. He just wanted horses, man. He just wanted to be a cowboy. He just wanted to, like, feel like a person with a personality and feel like an individual and, like, be a cowboy. That's all he wanted. I love Ken. He's got some great outfits. The songs and the battle on the beach where they beached each other was great. All the ridiculousness of like, yeah, everyone's named Barbie and everyone's named Ken, except that there's Alan. It's just ridiculous. Like, it just doesn't take itself very seriously. Like, it just has fun with how ridiculous it is. Also, I remember it was like some random YouTube video of, you know, the girl in the YouTube video. She's a redhead, and she was saying how like sad she was that like the girl, I forget the name, but there was like a Barbie that was a redhead, and in the movie you only see her as like the pregnant one, that they're like, oh, that's weird, we discontinued her, who wants a pregnant Barbie, pregnancy is weird, pregnancy is gross, let's ignore her, which it's a whole, you know, whole other thing. I won't just, you know, they're lame, but not like the people that are like shunning pregnancies are lame, but because I mean, what's more powerful than that, man? What's more powerful than that? Anyway, okay, I won't go down that path right now. Anyway, but the redhead girl in the YouTube video was saying like, but this character had so much more to her, and I was so happy as a kid because she had red hair like me, and then the movie just kind of like did her dirty like that. So anyway, but man, Ken just wanted to be a cowboy. It's just I'm just like so struck by the fact that like he was so like the Kens were so oppressed by the Barbies that like people just interacting with him normally was like so new to him that he wasn't just waiting and groveling for any speck of attention from the Barbies. Like, that's so like, can you imagine that reversed? That would be crazy. So there was just so much like funniness to it, and then so that's the thing is like, you know, power grabbing. That's what feminism, at least as it is today, feels like to me. It's just a power grab, and like, how is that much different from patriarchy or whatever? So I'm glad that the movie actually kind of took a better route where like, you know, the Kens kind of, I guess, went to the extreme in some way, and then they had to, like, brainwash the Barbies that had, like, bought into this, and then trick the guys into having, like, a giant beach fight, so that they could, you know, stop them from changing the Barbie constitution or whatever. Where was I going with that? But, like, at the end, like, the whole point of the video is, like, you know, Barbie talking to Ken and being like, because, like, she didn't like him, you know? And Ken was, like, struggling with that, of, like, who am I? I feel like I've heard people mention, like, oh, you know, this has, you know, dresses, like, you know, the fragile, you know, fragile masculine ego or something. Fragile masculinity. And, like, okay. So, like, with the context of the movie, Ken was just having an existential crisis and just wanted to be a cowboy. That was his only issue. Is like, he was designed to be, you know, a set with Barbie, and like he didn't know who he was outside of that, and like she didn't really want to like she didn't feel the same way about him, or like, you know, she didn't want to like him in the way he liked her, and like, but that was like his only like design feature. Like, so he was having an existential crisis. Like, he didn't know what to do with himself. So at the end, like, they talk, and there's this dramatic line of like, where he's like, but it's Barbie and Ken, like, to show like he doesn't know who he is. And then at one point she's like, it's Barbie and it's Ken. And it's like dramatic moment. So I feel like they didn't just like bash on the guys. You know, they seem to actually come to like a resolution that was good for like everyone. And then Barbie, like the classic Barbie herself, she was like too far gone as far as like she couldn't return to like just being a doll anymore, and so she like became human. The last line of the movie is like, it just threw me for a loop, because it's like she decides like, no, I want to stay human, even though like, yeah, death will come for me, but like I want to be part of, you know, part of your world. And I want to be the person imagining things instead of just the one that's being imagined or whatnot. So anyway, that was her journey of like, she, was then became human. So then, next scene, she's like getting out of the car. She's all like nervous but ready and goes up to this counter. And like, you're expecting like a job interview or something. Okay, but before I say this, earlier in the movie, like when they first show up and they're in these like crazy, like skating outfits and everyone's like, I guess, catcalling her or whatnot. And then she's just like blatantly like, oh, I don't have a vagina and he doesn't have a penis. Like, we have no genitals. Like, why are you guys even bothering or something like that? So then at the very end of the movie, she like walks in to, some building and up to this counter and she's like, I'd like to make a gynecologist appointment. And then the movie ends. I was like, what? Like, that threw me off. But I guess it makes sense because it shows, like, one, I guess she's human now. And two, I guess it shows, like, a shared experience of, like, all women getting, perhaps, I guess. Oh no, I guess that's what they were going for. It was just so, like, I was like, whiplash, like, what was that? That was not what I was expecting. Let's see, what was the other thing I was gonna say? Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, okay, just a second. Let me take a step. Remind me, I'm gonna talk about the, like, fragile masculinity stuff. I was probably gonna, like, Google search, like, a couple articles real quick and, like, read through and make comments on, like, what the mainstream media is saying about this movie, because I think that would be interesting. It probably would spark more comments I have about the movie that I'm not thinking of right now, but here, hang on. But there's a moment, oh gosh, okay, here. There's a moment where, like, the Barbies are trying to, like, break free, so they've, like, been unbrainwashing the Barbies that just turned into, like, sort of what the Kens were, of just, like, just, like, only serving the Kens. But then, after they unbrainwash them, then they're still pretending to, like, be brain dead, I guess, and, like, to kind of infiltrate, and, like, they're trying to, like, instigate the Kens against each other. And they're like, oh, we'll use their egos against them. But you know what they do? Is, like, each Barbie is with her Ken, and they're all, like, sitting on the beach. And then, like, then the Barbies keep, like, they're, like, really into it, listening, like, they're all the Kens are, like, playing the same song. There's just, like, a line of them with, like, each of them has, like, a little campfire, and the Ken has a guitar, and they're all singing the same song. But then the Barbies start kind of, like, getting up and, like, being like, oh, I'll be right back, and going and walking over to another Ken, and, like, kind of, they're like, oh, well, like, we'll use their egos against them. But they're just emotionally manipulating them by, like, purposefully, like, abandoning them and, like, trying to make them jealous. And it's, like, it's goofy, but also, like, the fact that they're like, oh, we're gonna, like, crush their, like, fragile masculine egos by emotionally manipulating them and messing with their trust by, like, flirting with other guys right in front of them. That was a little bit wild. Okay, let's see. Let me check chat real quick. What you guys up to? Let's see. I was like in the zone, rambling for a bit. Let's see. Frustrated little baby. Gets better, baby. Thanks, Blue Sky. He is sleeping on my shoulder now. He's all good. Let's see. My church's pastor took her granddaughter to the movie. She was horrified at all the adult humor. Who thought this was a kid's movie? Come on. Good thing her granddaughter was too young to understand that. Oh my god. I'd have to go back and watch the trailers. I feel like everyone knew this was not a kid's movie. If you want Barbie's kids movies, there is a plethora of the animated Barbie movies. There are so many Barbie movies. I feel like this was so clearly an adult movie. So I guess I'm glad the kid was doing. I did see like, I think when I was leaving the theater, I think I did see, like, a mom with two, like, kind of tween and then maybe youngish girls. So, see, here's the thing. It was definitely, like, adult humor. But yeah, I feel like the way they did it, there wasn't anything obtruse or, like, graphic or vulgar about the way they did the movie or the humor. It was just adult humor, which I feel like a lot of that, yeah, would definitely go over a kid's head. The movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once had so much potential. There's a lot of good things about it. I kind of threw it all away at the end. One thing is, like, it was so vulgar to the point of just, like, uncomfortable. It was kind of gross. And so I did not like that aspect of that movie. But yeah, I think the Barbie movie, very, very much adult humor. But there's nothing graphic about it. It's just, like, silly and absurd. But yeah, all the nuances would go way over a kid's head. So, I guess there's that. So anyone that had made the mistake of thinking this was a kid's movie, at least there wasn't any damage done, you know? Let's see, not any overt messaging. That's a very different take from pretty much everyone else I've heard talking about this movie. Here's the thing. I feel like it was obvious there was gonna be, like, feminist rhetoric. But the movie didn't take itself too seriously. So, like, obviously there was the, you know, girl power rhetoric or different things. But it felt like a meme. Like, the way they said it, of like, oh, Barbie fixed everything, and, like, you know, now women are happy. I don't know. I didn't take it seriously, hardly, like, at all. Like, there was, like, they did a couple serious moments that, like, worked. I have some thoughts about, like, the one sort of, like, turning point serious moment that had, like, the most sort of rhetoric. Yeah, now I'm gonna try and read some articles next on, like, both sides. To kind of, I guess, help capture, like, what the two sides are feeling. Like, yeah, oh, like, obviously there is rhetoric. But the thing is, it was a fun movie. Here's the thing. You can have fiction with a message, but then there's message fiction. And message fiction throws out message fiction forgets that it's supposed to be entertaining. That's the difference. Fiction with a message can have a heavy-handed message, but it doesn't forget that it's supposed to be entertaining you, and a good story, at the very least. The Barbie movie was entertaining and funny. It had a heavy-handed message, which I personally, like, you know, figured going in and just didn't take it very seriously. But the movie itself didn't take itself very seriously, and it was just fun. That's why I say it wasn't message fiction. Do you see what I mean? There's a difference there. A doll enters the real world sounds like Disney Channel's Life Size. Oh, I haven't ever heard of that. Let's see. I was like, that's a good message, and then you point out it was Ken. That's the thing, is like, if you look at like what was happening, I just thought that was so interesting. I feel like, I don't know, did they do that on purpose? Were they like super meta with it? I don't know. Like, I feel like, that's the thing, is like, the biggest thing I don't like about feminism is that it's all about power. It's just, it's, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'd have to, like, sort out how to, like, you know, present the thoughts in my head better. But it's like, it just feels like power grabs most of the time. You know? Like, I can't remember where this thought was going or what it related to. So anyway, what are the other comments? Kens weren't respected. Yeah, they were like so like lower class. It was kind of funny. Let's see. Sequel, the Kens get drafted into the G.I. Joes. That would be so funny. Let's see. Oh, what was it? I remember Small Soldiers. Remember Indian in the Cupboard. I remember Indian in the Cupboard. Like, I remember watching it. I don't remember, like, a ton about it, but I remember watching it. Ken's just a cinnamon roll. Yeah, he kind of is. Like, he's just lost. So that's why I'm glad, like, they weren't man-hating. They were talking about, like, oh, the patriarchy, which is, like, well seemed kind of silly, too. Like, it just felt like a meme. Like, Ken just wanted to be a cowboy, man. Jeremy and Jana. But this movie does hammer home its message. The message is that men have the power to take over the world once he stops pathetically simping over that girl he has no shot with. Yeah. Let's see. I'm like way behind on the messages. Sorry, guys. Imagine the total whiplash of watching this and Oppenheimer back to back. I feel like I've heard a lot of people memeing about that. Like watching those two back to back is probably so different. Every review of the movie makes me understand it less. Just gotta see it for yourself then. Some people just saw the word Barbie and thought it was for kids. Adult humor like old Tom Looney or Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry. Maybe that was a lot more subtle, I think. Barbie's pretty like this movie's pretty clearly like an adult movie. The trailers were super goofy. It's pretty clear it's not serious. Exactly. Like it's just like a ridiculous movie. Everyone's just probably having like such a wild time on set. Like all the crazy things, like just like the beginning I was cracking up so much at all the tiny little things where it's like it's just the dollhouse, like she goes down the slide to the pool, but the pool's just like flat plastic because it's the Barbie dream house, and like just all those little details were just hilarious. It must have been such a like wild time filming and acting in that movie. I heard that some of the people who worked on the movie were saying there wasn't feminist messaging before it came out, while others were saying it does. I feel like it kind of depends on like your perspective of like, I don't know, like I said, I feel like the rhetoric was there, and like, you know, I can't really tell what the intentions were, but most of it feels more like a meme. Barbie G.I. Joe crossover sounds more interesting than a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. Maybe. It was entertaining propaganda. Ooh, the most dangerous kind of propaganda. Most fiction has some message. It's not weird. It can give the fiction a glue to hold the themes together. Yeah, like having a message in your fiction is not a bad thing. Forgetting your job to entertain your audience while pushing a message down their throat, that's where the problem is. Sigma grinds it. Woo! Heard they had an issue finding enough pink things. Oh man. Alright, so I'm curious. Here, I'm gonna see if I can look up like some articles. I'm trying to think. Any other things I wanted to say about the movie first. I remember the most recent Black Christmas remake, they wanted to put the message first. When the original focused moved on the characters and the message was more of an undertone. I haven't seen any Black Christmases, but yeah, having the message be actually like part of your story and not just like shoved in is usually a good way to do it. Alright, I'm like slowly falling down the chair, trying to like lean back, keep Doe Baby on my shoulder. Let me just adjust myself. Alright, let's see. Let's look at some articles. Let's see. I suppose I will take the spoiler alert away for the moment. I'll turn it back on in, I guess, in a minute if I talk about spoilers again. Let's see. Let me come. Got the hiccups. Alright, let me Google. I'm just gonna Google Ken. Let's talk about Ken. Let's see. Oh. Oh, ooh, The Guardian. Oh, what's The Guardian gotta say? It says, Barbie's Ken is a bad role model for boys. Okay. Okay, let's check this one out. Alright, hang on. I'm gonna try and pull it up on the screen. Let's see. Let's see, will it pull up? Here we go. Alright, let's see. Alright. Here we go. The Guardian. Alright, let's see. So, Barbie's Ken is a bad role model for boys. A parent writes about her concerns about the film and the body image pressures on teen boys. Oh, that's interesting. That's so interesting. Alright, let's see. I just love, look at that outfit. It's great. Alright, Emma Flint picks up on how shallow and body beautiful Ken is portrayed to be in the new Barbie movie compared to Barbie. I have a 13-year-old daughter who is sporty, curvy, and has a very positive body image, and a 15-year-old son whom we are currently referring for private counseling due to a gym obsession and possible body dysmorphia. In my youth, it was girls who felt the pressure to be model thin or magazine perfect. Today, boys are bombarded with images of six-packs and bulging biceps, driven by algorithms on social media, which risk amplifying a teen boy's reasonable interest in the gym to an obsession. Actually, I remember watching a PewDiePie video about this. He was talking about steroids, and some issues with young boys getting kind of down that rabbit hole of body image and steroids and stuff like that. It was an interesting listen. This needs addressing online and conventional media, much as has been done for teen girls in recent years, thanks to role models such as the singer Meghan Trainor. Otherwise, I foresee a tsunami of boys with eating disorders and or gym obsessions. Ken is obviously not helping the case. But, did you watch the movie? Is she just going off of, this one picture? Because, like I said, I feel like the point, a large point of the movie was Ken's existential crisis of, who is he without all these things of, the beach and Barbie and all these external things. The end of the movie kind of addressed this in that, he was trying, he was kind of trying to figure out, he was, as his I need to get this sweatshirt, but there was a moment in the movie where he's wearing a sweatshirt. Oh wait, I probably should put the spoilers back up. Let me just put the spoilers back up on the screen. Hang on. Let me move this down here. Hang on. No, not that one. I need the other one. This one. I'll put spoilers. I'll finish reading this, but I'm like, did you watch the movie? Just the fact that, he's literally Ken, though. What do you want? That's literally Ken. It's literally Barbie. What are you expecting? Do you, they're dolls. I guess fair, you're not making a wrong point. You know, I think one of the downsides of feminism is that it's neglected men. Like, that's what this article's saying, is like, we put all this effort in like mental health and body image for women, and neglect men. Because men matter too. But the feminism wants the power grab and to have all the power from the men and don't actually care. And so they ignore them. Let me hang on a second. I'll put this one down there. Okay, no. Ah! Sorry. Here, maybe? Ah, that's fine. Okay. I'm gonna make it slightly smaller. Something like that. Anyway, I'll just keep that there. Let me go back over here. Let me chit chat. And make sure I check chat. What do you guys think? What do you think of her point so far? Let's see. Entertaining propaganda can be fun. Have you ever heard of Squirrel and Hedgehog? Best thing to come out of North Korea. Maybe not. Maybe I have, but maybe I haven't. I'm not sure. I prefer the message to be subtext so I can piece it together myself. I feel like the writers are talking down to me when it's over. Well, yeah, fair. Boys don't like Ken, a doll. I wouldn't have guessed. Oh, fun fact, me and my brothers, I think particularly the brother right above me, I have two brothers above me, and the one right above me, me and him, or he and I, we had a game where we'd play with, the stuffed animals and the Barbies. The Barbies were always the villain. The stuffed animals were always, like, the rebellion, overthrowing the evil overlords of the Barbies. That was our game. It was fun. Let's see. By your review, sounds like Ken was supposed to be a bad role model. But yeah, the remakes aren't very good. Granted, you could have blamed the rest production. Oh, that's talking about the Black Christmas. Let's see. This stuff is exactly what I'm talking about. People do not know how to respond to this movie. Let's see here. It's Ken's fault. Let's ignore the Jersey Shore's existence. I don't know what that means. Alright, I don't buy that body image issues are worse for boys than girls now, especially when it's not just the entertainment industry, but you have models on Instagram or whatever, with 20 filters. And little girls think they're real. Are you saying, like, boys' bodies issues have always been a thing and now they're just being noticed, or that boys don't have body issues? I think this article is mostly clickbait, maybe, yeah. He-Man, Superman, G.I. Joe, Rambo, Terminator. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, people are like, oh, comics, you know, they're all like, these are unrealistic, you know, images of bodies, like, you know, particularly for girls, like, unrealistic beauty standards, but like, yeah, they're cartoons, they're comics. They're supposed to be, like, extraordinary, especially, like, superheroes. I feel like there's a lot of other factors that play into, like, the, you know, body image issues. And, like, I think in a way, I guess body image, I could see it hitting girls a bit harder than guys in some ways, where a lot of times, like, young girls are a bit more, like, hyper-focused on, like, how they look and how they dress and all these different things, and yeah, the age of social media doesn't help. But that doesn't mean that boys don't have insecurities or might develop, you know, body image issues, or I think probably, like, their self-esteem issues probably come out in, like, different ways, because boys and girls are different. But let's see here. Let's finish reading this. Curious how it ends. Let's see. But yeah, as a whole, most of men's and boys' mental health issues are pretty ignored by most of the collective. Wait, I read this is a good reason why not to support the Guardian. Wait, what's this? This is a good reason why not to support the Guardian. Oh, not everyone can afford to pay for news right now. This is why we keep our... Oh, it's saying, like, if you're poor, we're not gonna shame you, I guess. Oh. Oh, I guess if you want to keep reading it, it's a subscription or whatever. Anyway, alright. Bored of that. Let's look up... Let's just type in Ken. Oh gosh, what did he call his house? His house was great. I love his house. His song was great. His fashion was great. Oh, did anyone watch this dude? It was like the Barbie Life in the Dream House. I've seen lots of clips of it. He's pretty funny. I forget how his character was in that show. If like, I think they probably gave him a personality. Let's see. Maybe we should just look up reviews. Yeah, let's look up Barbie reviews. Let's see what we can find. Oh, that my caps lock was on, that's why. Alright, Barbie. I was such like a tomboy growing up that like, I feel like at times I kind of put on an air of like, oh, I'm really not that interested in Barbies and Polly Pockets. Like, I don't know, I feel like I put on airs sometimes of like, I was too good for Barbies. Or like not interested. Which I mean, to some extent maybe I was. But not really, because it was more just like having fun imagining. Like I played with the Lego figures the same way where it's like, you know, come up with storylines and stuff. Alright, let's see. Reviews. There we go. I see them down there. You gotta stay asleep, baby. Let's see what we can find. Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, this would be interesting. Oh, because these are just like reviews that people leave. Okay. Alright, so audience score. Okay, it's got a pretty high score overall. Pretty similar. Ease, baby. Alright. I know. Shh. Oh, come here. Shh. Come here. Let's get you settled back down. Alright. Okay, let's see. Because, like, there's just reviews. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Let's see. Greta Gerwig serves up a frothy confection. Okay, why are you being so fancy? Why are you being so fancy with your words? Fashion and fun coupled with searing social critique of the iconic doll in the movie Barbie. That sounds very pretentious. Why is it? I guess Gerwig is the director. Gerwig's satire and comedic chops of Robbie and especially Gosling's fall into perfect rhythm once Barbie and Ken leave the candy-colored comforts of Barbie Land and Ken discovers the patriarchy. Let's see what the rest of their review is. Film spotting. What is that? Is this the review? Nope. What is that? Let's see. Where's some other articles? Barbie is stained and smug without much wit. One should bear in mind that Mattel, with revenue of 42 billion in 2022, partnered with Warner Brothers on the marketing of this movie. That's kind of funny to me. Barbie is phenomenally funny, smart, really engaging film. Mostly, Barbie is laugh out loud funny and a sheer delight. Let's see. Will this give me the full review? Okay, here we go. Let's see what they've got. Movie review, Barbie. Alright. Barbie, from, Lidworm, in chat says, the Barbie movie makes me wonder, at what point, are even the kind of people who decry the status quo and thus demand progress when they see the way the status quo is portrayed in films like this? Forced to admit that this is simply not the reality that people are actually experiencing. Let's see. Let's see if we can read this review. Alright. Good wigs. Barbie is packed with ingenious ideas and imaginary imagery wherever you turn. It starts with a play on 2001's A Space Odyssey, where little girls... Okay, I guess that was a reference to Space Odyssey, which I don't think I've ever seen, so I totally didn't get it. Yeah, I feel like there was probably references in here. I'm too zoomer to understand. Beautiful new grown-up doll with long hair and... Wait, hang on. A Space Odyssey, where little girls bash their dolls on rocks in favor of the beautiful new grown-up doll with long hair and breasts. And we're off. Yeah, that was quite the start. Okay, that was a reference to something. I guess it's not quite as weird. It's still kind of weird with baby bashing, but you know. From there, we jump cut Barbie. Let's see. Okay, she's kind of describing the film. Let me get her opinion. Robbie, who excels at playing wide-eyed naffs, that seems like an underhanded compliment, is predictably wonderful here, never losing Barbie's touching sweetness, even as she learns some harsh realities about the world. She gets called a fascist. Oh, that's what I didn't talk about yet, is the whole, like, arc with the mom and the daughter. Because she has to go, like, you know, Barbie's suddenly experiencing thoughts of death, and something's wrong. So she has to go into the real world and find the person that's playing with her and figure out what her problem is so that Barbie doesn't have her problems anymore. And the daughter is like an SJW, like, social justice warrior of like, the Barbie is so problematic. And, well, that sounds like a Valley Girl. But she's like, man, yo, this is whack. You're like, so not cool. You just, like, set unrealistic beauty standards, and also you're a fascist. And then Barbie cries, and she's sad, because she's like, I'm not a fascist. So, but the daughter's arc is, like, just slowly being less grumpy. She doesn't really have an arc. It's mostly the mom, and their relationship kind of mending a little bit, which is nice. But it's mostly, like, the mom and the Barbie. So I feel like one of the, like, serious moments is the way they're able to, like, break the Barbies out of the, like, brainwash that they've gotten by the Kens, where they've been, like, brainwashed by the Kens. So all they do is, like, serve the Kens hand and foot and forgotten about all their aspirations. Which is just the tables, you know, reversed from where the Kens were. Because at one point, like, the Kens have the dream houses, and then the mom, the, you know, human mom, asks Barbie, like, where are the Kens at? Like, where do they sleep normally? And Barbie's like, oh. Like, she never thought about the fact that, like, all the Barbies have their individual dream house. And the Kens are homeless. So anyway, to, like, break them out of their mind, you know, whatever. I guess as they put it, the mom, like, verbalizes the cognitive dissonance of, like, being a woman or something. Where it's like, gosh, what was all the things she said? Like, you gotta be, I don't know, it's like, hey, you gotta be skinny, but you can't say you want to be skinny. You gotta say you want to be healthy, or like you gotta, you know, try and have it all. I don't know. She had all this like stuff back and forth, which like I have to like listen through point by point, and it's always like, oh, it's society, it's the patriarchy. I feel like it's just marketing. Like everything, we're always being sold something. So I feel like so much of our culture has been influenced by the marketing of products, and especially in like the past century. And there's a really good, I believe it's Joseph Pieper, wrote a sort of like a paper or article or something on abuse of power, abuse of language, and talks about like the manipulative way language is used, especially in marketing. So I feel like that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. It's like this marketing of like trying to create a problem that they can then fix, you know? I don't know, like I never experienced this so-called patriarchy. I don't know. I feel like, okay, here's the other thing, is like, I feel like it's like this blanket statement is always thrown out at men. Like you hear of toxic masculinity and fragile masculinity and all this stuff, but it's like, why is the whole blanket thrown over masculinity? Like, why do we call it, you know, fragile masculinity instead of, hey, that person's insecure? Or why do we call it toxic masculinity instead of like that person's, you know, toxic, just toxic? And like, I guess they're trying to say like, you know, it's like a societal thing of like, oh, men are, you know, think it's okay to act this way, you're pressured to act this way, or this or that, but like, I don't know, especially in like the States, like the culture is so different in different places, you know? And like even things where it's like, you know, people talk about like, oh, men not being able to cry or share their emotions. But then they're also different from us. Like, okay, yeah, you need to be able to healthfully deal with your emotions and process things. That doesn't mean they have to do it in the same way women do, you know? Like, and in a way, a lot of times, like, they're the protectors, and they're kind of like the front-facing force protecting those they love. And you can't show weakness when you're, like, the front-facing force. So there's a way to, like, keep that, you know, sort of shield up, as long as you can, like, you have places where you can let that shield down and like deal with whatever you're dealing with, like, and still process it. But just because I don't know, this is another thought. All right, where was I going with that? I don't know. Let me check chat again because I keep forgetting, because I keep trying to like, I'm like, I gotta straighten out what thoughts are in my head. What are you guys up to? Honestly, Ken has a point here. Have you you have a home? Where's art? Exactly! Like, that's the thing. That's why I feel like it's almost kind of meta. Like, I'm glad that they didn't, like, man-hate. I don't think that, yeah, they didn't really man-hate. They were like, oh, the patriarchy. Which Ken thought was just about horses. He just wanted to be a cowboy, man. Also, you know, there's one time, I was doing a study with some friends on, John Paul II, the Vocation and Dignity of Women. It was like an encyclical he wrote. And one of my friends pointed out, like, if you think about probably other times and cultures, or just, I guess, biology in a way, where it's like, a man could, like, knock up a woman and then desert her. Like, the patriarchy was put in place to protect women and children, because then it said, you need to take responsibility and take care of these people. There's a certain amount of authority and power that comes in, responsibility, but particularly in like a understanding of like, you know, particularly like in Christianity, like a leader, it's often done wrong because of fallen human nature, but it's like, the whole point is like, you know, having power means that you are a servant. Does that make sense? Like, the way we're... Like, the ideal way is like, you have responsibility and power over these people so that you can better serve them, you know? So, like, in a way, I think the patriarchy was created to protect women and children. Because then it was like, hey, you can't just knock up this woman and leave her defenseless. Because now she has to, you know, deal with being pregnant and raising babies. Or, like, you know, she's vulnerable. You have to take responsibility and take care of her. And, you know, create a safe environment for, you know, the women and children. So that's my 2 cents. Anyway, what was the thought before that? This is why I'm like, I'm so scattered. If I like ever like, I feel like if I really dug into like a sensitive topic, I don't know, I guess this is kind of a sensitive topic. I'm kind of just talking though. I feel like I need to like make a presentation because otherwise like I cannot keep my thoughts straight to like properly articulate what's in my brain. Let's see, young men are expected to only express their emotions by chugging monsters and punching drywall. I mean, that's not the best strategy, though. Not the best strategy to deal with it. Women have support groups. Men are literally told from birth, man up. Yeah, and like... Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, okay, if you are never taught how to properly... That's the thing, is that it's being like, okay, you need to... Like I said again, is through a lot of history, like, men are the first defense. Like, you can't fall apart now because otherwise everyone you love is at risk. I think, yeah, that's kind of where it comes from. It's like, you have to be able to push through. Most of the time, there's not those sorts of dire situations, but I think that's where it comes from. It's like, a lot of times, like, sometimes you do need to be able to push through because you are the protector, or, like, you're the, you know, you need to make something happen. But then, after, you know, whatever moment passes, and you're back in, like, you know, within your own home, or with people you trust, you still need to deal with whatever you went through. I think that's the thing, is, like, I think there is a place for needing to, like, learn how to hold the line and man up, but you also have to know how to process whatever you need to process and deal with those things. You know? Like, you're missing something there, you know? Alcohol doesn't help staying focused. It does help reading through articles like this. I'm not really feeling much effects of that one. I'm drinking it so slow that, like, you can't really feel it. It's more that I'm sitting in a dark room, and I'm only, like, occasionally looking at chat, so I'm just kind of, like, talking to myself. So I'm just talking circles around myself. It's like people want society to remain that way so they have a clear, easy target to argue against. Or they wish it still were that way even though it isn't. Let's see. Okay, I think that's relating to your other comment. The Barbie movie makes me wonder, at what point are even the kind of people who decry the status quo and thus demand progress when they see the way the status quo is portrayed in films like this? Forced to admit that this is simply not the reality that people are actually experiencing. It's like people want society to remain that way so they have a clear, easy target to argue against. Or they wish it were still that way even though it isn't. I think, you know, like, the problem with organizations that are, like, you know, pursuing a cause is, especially if it becomes huge and there's, like, financial support, which then kind of becomes financial incentive to keep the problem going so you can keep fighting the problem and keep getting money. I feel like that's a slippery slope. Alright, let's see, I'm just gonna skim this to see if there's anything else that popped up. Oh, it was also funny, so like the human characters, it's the mom and the daughter, and the dad, you only hear him speak Spanish. He's like this white guy, and it's like he's like on Duolingo trying to like learn a phrase, or like he's in the car at the very end and like is trying to say a phrase. It's so random. I was happy though, because like I assumed it was like single mom and her daughter, but there was actually, you know, a father there, and he was like just trying to learn Spanish. Just kind of funny. Let's see. Let's see what else. Oh, it was also funny when she like walked up she was like, "Oh look, construction workers. Good. We need some feminine energy." And she like walks up to construction workers on break, and of course they're like just doing all these ridiculous cat calls like one after another. And she's like, "What's happening?" Like the movie just is so silly. It doesn't take itself seriously. Let's see. Okay, this one's just kind of like going through. I'm trying to like go to the end. Okay. Will Barbie be able to save Barbie Land from the patriarchy? Oh no! Let's see. Okay, let's see. She said, "That said, I do wish the film had tread a bit more lightly in terms of messaging. There's one too many speeches about trampling the patriarchy and the maddening double standards that come with being a woman. It's particularly unnecessary because Barbie already does show us these things, cleverly, slyly, and creatively. I wish Gerwig had felt confident enough in her subtext to leave out the actual text." I think that could have enhanced it. Like I said, I went in expecting that there was going to be rhetoric, and so I just like didn't even like bother caring and just kind of let it slide off. I guess it could have actually been. I wonder if that would have taken it from just like silly movie to a little bit like oh, this is not just a silly film. Like there was maybe more of the work they put in would have shown through if they hadn't like kind of covered it up with the rhetoric. I could see that. Let's see. The executives were pretty funny too. And I'll try one more review. I don't really feel like reading reviews because like kind of boring. Let's see. What's Common Sense Media say? Barbie movie review. I didn't want to read that other article because it was like going point by point through the movie, which I feel like that would take a while. Maybe not that long. I don't know. It feels long. Maybe I'll go back and read it. Alright. Parents' Guide to Barbie. Okay, this will be interesting. It's Common Sense Media. Ages 11 plus? Yeah. Like I said, I feel like a lot of the humor would go over kids' heads. Let's see. Positive message promotes, let's see. Promotes the idea that feminism is inclusive of all women and that being a woman is complicated and sometimes messy. Barbie Land is welcoming, if naive about the way the real world works. Encourages women to support one another, to be free of the many standards thrust upon them by society. Emphasizes importance of finding out who you are separately from your relationships with other people. Glad they included Ken in that. Inclusive of all women. Let's forget the men, though. Positive role models. Barbie is curious, empathetic, brave, and kind. She doesn't give up on her goals. She realizes that she doesn't have to be perfect to have value. Ken is insecure and shallow, but develops meaningfully over the course of the story. The Barbies have power until they fall under the sway of patriarchy. I can never take the word patriarchy seriously. And they eventually learn how to coexist with the Kens. Gloria is an observant, loving mother, and her daughter, Shasha, is smart and bold, I suppose. What else does it say? Violence and scariness. A big fight among a lot of characters involves use of silly weapons and physical grappling. Another fight includes a chokehold. Barbie runs away from Mattel executives. Okay. Alright, let's go down a little bit. Let's see. Products and purchases. What's that mean? Barbie and Mattel brands are in nearly every scene of the movie, including references to real Barbie dolls and accessories. Others featured brands including Duolingo, Hydro Flask, Hummer, Suburban, all the cars. Yeah, they did use a lot of media. Okay, let's see. Parents need to know. Parents need to know that the writer-director, Greta Gerwig's all-star take on Barbie has a sophisticated message about feminism and the patriarchy. Like I said, I just can't take it seriously, man. And consequently, a screenplay that will likely go over younger kids' heads. The movie follows stereotypical Barbie and her handsome but insecure boyfriend Ken as they venture into the human world and discover the shocking to them truth that Barbie dolls didn't actually solve the problems of sexism and patriarchal control. While there's no sex in the movie, Barbie and Ken are frank about not having genitals. Ken are shown shirtless. Barbie gets catcalled, and there are suggestive references to dolls' bodies, including Ken's nude bulge. And how a male-dominated society expects women to be ornamental and helpful, which is exactly how the Kens were treated in the beginning of the movie. There's a bleeped out use of the word mother effer, plus crap, shut up, and oh my gosh, without the S. A couple of big brawls with silly weapons, slapsticks, and there's beers and whatnot. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's a fair enough take. Let's see. Not political, just encourages gender equality. Yeah, I was surprised that there wasn't man-hating. I think that's, was nice. There's no man-hating. Like I said, I really can't take any of the like, everyone's like, oh, it's got such positive messaging. I don't know, I can't take it seriously. It all just feels like rhetoric to me. But it was a funny movie. I laughed a lot. There was some... The humor was really funny. There was a lot of really just the whole set and everything, and it was just all very dramatic and funny. Alright, let's catch up with chat again. Let's see. If Ken comes back from the real world and easily brainwashes and installs a patriarchy against the will of Barbies, that's not a very empowering message to send to young girls. But I haven't seen the movie. Maybe that's not exactly how it went down. I mean, it is. But it's just showing what the Barbies were doing to the Kens. In a way. I don't know. I'm not taking any of this stuff too seriously. Like, I feel like the main message in this was, like, to Ken of, like, hey, you're insecure because you're lost and you don't know who you are, so, like, find out who you are. Like, yeah, you need to, you don't want codependent relationships. Like, you need to have a solid foundation of, like, who you are before you can, healthfully, operate within a relationship, like any relationship really. It's just so goofy. I can't take it seriously. Ken thought it was about horses. And the Barbies were like, I mean, like they just come back. It's like all the Barbies were brainwashed. They don't say how it happened. It was just like, oh, Ken's like running the place now, you know, and they're just like bros are hanging out, and they're, you know, all self-focused, and the girls are just bringing them beer. So like, yeah, obviously, no one's advocating that. The movie's not advocating that. Let's see, women didn't have proper birth control into the 70s. There's so much I could say about birth control. But I think that is a topic I don't think I will ever touch on stream, just because this is just a fun hobby. And I'm not. There's so much I will say, and that is why I will never comment on it. So let's move on. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, that thing about money is a big problem. They don't end, so they just continue to rot and fester. Yeah. I'm sure there's examples of how to, like, manage that kind of stuff properly, like how to, you know, or have an organization that, you know, changes a problem, but then doesn't start creating the problem so that they can justify their existence. Getting late here, so gotta go. Good night. Good night. I am out of names. I'm glad you're able to stop by. Wonder if there's a word replacement extension for patriarchy. One that switches millennials to snake people. Oh, there's one that switches millennials to snake people? That's interesting. I like how the expectation of being helpful is seen as bad. That's just basic human decency. You part of a family, part of a community, be helpful. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, yeah, if we're all selfish all the time, we're not gonna get very far. Yeah. Barbenheimer was a great movie. I'm sure someone's gonna take, like, bits from each movie and, like, composite them together to make some atrocious, like, masterpiece. How you doing, by the way, Minna? Hello, Nylon. I'm doing pretty good. It's, I should probably not stay up too late. I got Sleepy Baby on me. We are in the unpacking arc now in our journey to Japan. So we're, like, almost fully settled. I'm kind of excited, but also kind of overwhelmed to deal with all our stuff. Figure out where it all goes. I will try and be as ruthless as I can to declutter. And it's like, if it doesn't have a space in the house, it can't stay. But yeah, I'm doing good. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Odd that Cowboy Ken isn't in the toy line. It was also interesting because, like, things that were happening in the Barbie world then affected the real world. So when there was the Bojo Mojo Masa Casa, or whatever he called the house, it was hilarious. Those houses were then in the real world, like, flying off the shelves being sold, which is pretty funny. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I went and saw Mission Impossible 7 instead of Barbieheimer. I thought it was really good. I don't think I've watched any of the Impossible movies. I didn't even know Mission Impossible. I don't think I've seen any of their movies. But I guess good to know there's another one out. Oh, my arm's starting to fall asleep with baby. He's heavy. Alright, let me think. Anything else I wanted to say about this? I don't know. My experience growing up was, like, for example, I've never really liked girl power, because it always felt like we're just trying to take the power from men. We're just trying to be better than men and take men's jobs. Or like we're trying to make, like, take the qualities men have. And, like, that's how it felt to me growing up. Is it felt like girl power was about, like, trying to be in the man's space and take over the man's position and don't let the man push you around. When it's like, so many people are just like, say like, oh, feminism is just about like women being able to have a choice to do stuff, which, like, yeah, but also, like, at this point in the history of feminism, like, I feel like you can't really separate that from the division it creates between the sexes. It's very dividing. Like, especially the extreme people are obviously, you know, extreme and, like, man-hating. Or, like, people, I guess, with all seriousness, will post things like, oh, we should kill all men. I don't know. It's like, there's a lot of, why is it gotta be us against them? Why has it gotta be so, like, dividing? Why can't we play into our strengths and be complementary? Like, there's... Also, why are we, the women, trying to fix all of men's problems? Why... Because, like, I feel like equality, like, one of the, like, part of the feminine genius is our skill at relationships and community building. Like, we're very good at networking in, like, a community sense, you know? And it's like, why are we trying to do all the hard work? Like, what if we're trying to do everything and do all, you know, police the men? I don't think that's as effective as using our influence in a way to, like, make sure the men are policing themselves. Does that make sense? Like, if we're constantly, like, beating down on men and being like, we can do things better than you, what kind of encouragement is that for them to better themselves and be better men? Because then when you have better, stronger men in the world, they're gonna police the bad men. And I feel like that's missing. Like, if we're constantly dragging them down, then now we're just giving ourselves more work. So, I don't know, I feel like that's a large part of what I feel like. So anyway, my experience growing up was, well, one, I was annoyed when I was a Girl Scout, and I wanted to do what the Boy Scouts were doing, which was, like, learning knots, and doing fun stuff in the woods, and learning little skills like that. And I feel like so much of the sort of curriculum was like, oh, you gotta be a girl boss. You gotta, like, you know, be a girl boss and, like, learn all these skills for, like, the workforce. Or, you know, be a leader. And I'm like, man, I just want to play in the woods. I want to learn skills. Like, I had some, like, really old, I don't know, from, like, 50s or, like, 60s? Maybe, like, a handbook of, like, you know, Girl Scout handbook. And, like, in the merit badges was things like how to cook a chicken and, you know, how to put, there's a great one where it's like how to put out a child that's on fire. So, like, that annoyed me. And also, I was always like, screw you. I don't want to go work a job. I'm gonna have kids. You can't tell me what to do. Why do I want to go through that trouble? No. I want to raise a family. So that was my perspective growing up. Let's see. I feel like... See, that's the thing, is, like, I don't want to go so long between, like, checking chat, but then as soon as I think, like, oh, I should check chat, then, like, my train of thought kind of gets totally derailed, and I forget anything else I wanted to say on that train of thought. Let's see. Let's see. Wait, seriously? How? Are you saying, like, what was your question, Hiro 101? let's see. I went and saw Mission Impossible 7. Oh yeah, I already read that. I just watch shows and movies for escapism. It's fine to have messaging, but when it's in your face and preachy, it's a huge turn off for me. Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like the one lady's review where she was like, if they had just let, like, the actions speak for themselves and not been as, like, har patriarchy, I guess it could have been a deeper film. And maybe a better film for it. I went in with my expectations set to they're gonna have rhetoric, so I wasn't really disappointed. But it'd be interesting. It would have been interesting to see if they like tried to not be so heavy-handed, you know. Let's see. Women should manipulate men into being happy men of vanilla. No. That's missing the point. Like, you're not gonna manipulate anyone into being... I feel like it's the thing. It's like people only focus on like the one side of the spectrum and don't realize there's the other side of like... I don't know. So I feel like toxic femininity is the gossiping and the tearing people apart. And like women are can be very good at being very mean, especially to each other, and like yeah, like the gossip, you know, being terrible gossips and like pulling people down and like being manipulative and controlling. But on the other end of that is someone that can bring people together in community, like build community, come together, support each other. And like that same networking that can be used for like someone's destruction can be used for someone's good. And I think people miss that there's a trait and you can use it for good or bad, you know? You know, same with like, I don't know, men being, because like, I don't know, what even is toxic masculinity? Again, I feel like that's just putting this blanket statement on individual people's issues, you know? Again, I feel like I'm losing my thoughts. Like, in my town, Boy Scouts was a lie. All we ever did was hang out at a random house and do games or arts and crafts. Never went to any woods. The scouting, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, is very dependent on like the people leading it. Like my Girl Scout troop growing up was like kind of girly girl. They never really like. I guess my experience with it being like, man, why is it all girl power? Was kind of because of like how the leaders were running it. Whereas like my mom runs a the Girl Scout troop now with my sister, and they do things a lot differently. And like, you know, teach them skills like how to plan and budget for like a trip, because it's like they'll get the cookie money and you know, hey, we've got these funds, we want to go on a trip here, you know, teach them how to, you know, figure out and budget. Like, I don't know, there's like so much, there's so much that women are capable of and can do that doesn't have to be like, oh, the men and the we gotta take out the patriarchy, the men and the patriarchy. And it's like, what the thing is too is I see a lot of like Facebook pages can be so depressing because you see like, you know, people making like usually it's like an anonymous post where it's like, you know, especially, you know, moms, you know, on mom pages where it's like they're describing a situation there is, and it's, you know, it's bad, like there's abuse, like emotionally, financially, like they're just like, or they're just being jerks, and it's really sad to see that. So it's like, you don't want, I mean, that's no good. but this, I don't know. I feel like part of that too is, like I said, all this emphasis has been put on like women need to be as good as men. Men need to like step back, and also like there's a crisis of fatherhood. You're not having good role models, good fatherly role models is going to affect. So I feel like honestly it's like a crisis. You know, the men of society are going through a crisis. Why are we still beating them down when it's clear they need support and help? Because if we've got this much issue going on, there's some root cause. So anyway. Let's see. I hear Doe Kid. I guess I should probably wrap up. I don't know. Yeah, my thoughts are always bouncing around everywhere. I never feel like I can properly explain the things in my head, especially in this sort of form. I'd have to like write it down to like properly get everything explained out of my head. When I've heard people try to describe toxic masculinity, they just, I just think those traits aren't even masculine to begin with. That's a good point. That's a good point. Is it toxic masculinity, or is it a guy that never learned how to be masculine in the first place? How can a man up if there's no men to teach them how to man up? Yep. It appears that I showed up at the end. Yeah, I probably need to wind down. Let me just think if there's any last thoughts. I don't know if you can hear the baby monitor from over here. I can hear it. I don't know. There's a lot to be said about that. I don't know. There's so many different things. So many different things in the world. I will say, okay, I'll wrap up. I think the Barbie movie was hilarious. Ken was so, like, dramatic in all the best ways. With, like, his outfits and the way he was. Everyone's acting, I think, was pretty great. Yeah, I feel like the daughter's character was kind of lackluster. She was just kind of there. She was kind of there to, like, be grumpy. The mom had more character. I don't know, and, like, so, like, the whole thing of, like, breaking, the way they, like, broke the, mind thing, brain fog or whatever they had, the Barbies, who were, like, brainwashed, that's it. They're, like, brainwashed. And she was, like, saying, like, all these pressures from society. But again, I feel like my experience was, like, we just kind of ignored those pressures. Like, we didn't have, like, cable or anything. I didn't have any social media until I was 18. Thank goodness. It was a smart move. My parents then. I mean, I was homeschooled, so I wasn't, like, thrust into, surrounded by all my peers and all their drama all the time. I could just, like, live my life and interact with a lot of different people, which was nice. So I felt a lot, like, I was pretty confident in myself. There's, like, I mean, everyone has insecurities or little things that bother them and this and that, but for the most part, like, I've had a pretty solid foundation of, like, who I was. And also the other thing that I've noticed is, like, because, like, a lot of people feel like they lose their identity. Like, a lot of women feel like they lose their identity in motherhood. But I don't think my identity's ever really been tied in that way to something outside of myself. Like, it wasn't like I grew up and I'm like, oh, I'm in this grade, or I work at this place, or this or that. I was always just kind of like me doing things. Like, being homeschooled, it's like me, I'm working with the horses, or I'm writing, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. You know, I never felt like my identity was tied to something outside of myself. And so, like, as I grew up, got married, had kids, and, like, I don't know, I do life with them. Like, they're my adventuring buddies. I don't feel like I've lost myself in motherhood. I mean, things have changed for sure. life's much different. There's a lot of logistics to handle. It's exhausting sometimes. But personally, and like, I don't think, like, I like watching my mom. I don't think my mom ever felt like, oh, she's like lost herself, or like in motherhood, where she's like feel like doesn't really know who she is. And she to this day still like chooses to just constantly keep kids around her. That's just kind of like who she is in a way. Like she just always has kids around. Like she's always taking other people's kids to watch. She's like always giving everyone else a break, never giving herself a break. But she never like she was never came across as like resentful about that. Like she could get stuff done. She can accomplish a lot. She's very smart, and she can accomplish a lot, and like make things happen. And like where my parents are today is like because my dad's a hard worker, and gathers the resources mom needs, and she was very good. She is very good at like taking those resources, whatever money he brings in or other different things, like, and then being like, all right, how can we make this work for us? Like, what can we, like, that was their dynamic. And like different families, different couples, there's all kinds of different dynamics that work out. But she was very, like, she was herself. She was kind of like no nonsense a lot of times, and she was like, she's just herself, and she did all these things. And a lot of times, pretty much all the time, there was lots of kids in tow. So that was also my, role, model growing up, mom. And, so I think that plays into why I don't feel like I've lost myself, because, like, I still feel like it's me. I'm just me. Like, when I became an adult, and, for a while I was kind of like, oh, haha, I'm adulting. Look at me adulting. Enjoyed that cringy stage for a minute. But then I'm like, no, it's just me. I'm still just me. Like, my worth, is not tied to anything outside myself. My worth is tied to made in the image and likeness of God, and I have an innate dignity because of that. And it's like, it's just me. But now I've got these responsibilities, and now I take care of these things, or it's just me. And now I've got these kids I take care of. And at the same time, it's like, my time in my life isn't my own anymore in the way that it used to be. But that's not entirely a bad thing. And I still, like, do a lot. Like, I feel like a big thing for me is, like, I'm having a lot of fun pursuing, learning all the homesteading skills. I'm just, like, it's hard for me to, like, not try and do a bunch of stuff. I have a friend who's similar. She's similar kind of energy. The things she likes to pursue is, like, a certain sort of career or, like, job. There's, like, a certain sort of thing she's passionate about that she wants to pursue to help other people. But, and, like, we definitely need, like, time. Like, it was very nice being able to, like, go to the movies with my friends. Like, we need to still be able to function as people and humans sometimes. I feel like that's what's hard. Is like, it's so all-consuming taking care of, especially young kids. And it's hard because, like, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, and then you're the default parent. Like, you're used to doing everything for the kids and handling all this stuff. And a lot of times then you run into the situation of, like, it's easier for you to just do it. Like, instead of taking the time to, like, slow down and, like, give your, spouse a chance to, give the dad a chance to actually do stuff. Like, you're used to doing it, you can do it quicker, but then if you never let him have the chance to do it, then he's never going to, like, learn how to do it and be able to help you. That was something I realized kind of early on of, like, I need to, and he's not going to be exactly the same as me because he's dad. The father brings their own qualities to the relationship, like, in, the child. and their own ways of like going about things. So like as long as you guys are like on the same page and can communicate about stuff, you know. But like give him a chance to figure it out, which is hard sometimes because you're just so used to doing it. But again, it's hard because it's like you're used to doing it all the time. You're the default parent where it's like the kids tend to want mom, you know, especially when they're younger. So it's tricky to like find the balance and carve out how to like manage everything. Anyway, another tangent. But again, I don't know. I just kind of ignored society growing up. Like, yeah, I don't know. I never the brain rot never got close to me. And like it's fun too seeing my my sister, you know, getting older, and she's got a lot of confidence in herself. And so it kind of reminds me of me when I was at that stage. It makes me happy. Because I don't know, I'm like, oh, there's all this talk about society and the patriarchy and what society's pressures, and I'm like, I just ignore them. Just ignore them. You know, the best thing, honestly, the best thing I can do for society is raise up the next generation. So, you know, like, yeah, like feminism, sure, you know, gives other options for things. I think mainly it's just like times change, different things happen. History is just like this, you know, rolling ball down the line. I don't know. What I hate is when it's like, oh, being a mom's not good enough. Which, like, most of the time people don't come out and say, but, like, sometimes it's there, you know? But it's like, what more worthy thing can I do with my time? You know? And yeah, it's... I was thinking the other day. I don't know. Especially when they're asleep. It helps when the kids are asleep because then they're not like doing crazy stuff that's making you go like, ah! But it's like when they're asleep and you're just like, you just look at them. And it's hard to put into words. It's so hard to imagine what life like before them was like. Or like, I guess you can kind of remember. It's more of like you can't imagine what life would be like without them now. You're just... Yeah, it's always like right before I fall asleep. I'm just looking at their cute little sleeping faces. And I'm just like, man, how lucky am I? They're so cute, guys. They're just so cute. How lucky am I? Alright, I'm gonna get like all emotional. They're just so cute. I get to be their mama. It's the best. It's because I'm holding sleepy dough baby in my arms right now, and I'm looking at him, and he's so big. He's not a little baby anymore. It's so fun watching them grow. It's so cute. I don't know, it's hard to describe the feeling. It's like... It's like hard having something outside of yourself that like, you know, you have to put like a lot of emphasis on. It's hard when your time isn't really your own. And like I said, like it's important to make sure you're still being able to like function so that you can take care of them. But it's like it's like your heart's just like walking around outside you. I don't know. It's just... They're just so cute, guys. It's just so cool. And they just keep getting bigger. They keep growing up. What's happening? They just keep growing up on me. Oh, I think I'm gonna wake him up with all my cooing. Alright, I should probably end. Yeah, let me look for someone to raid. It's late night. Oh, hours. Who's up? Let's see. Late night for me, anyways. It's Eddie. Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's still good. Alright, let's go raid. Shabelle is streaming. She's doing drawing with Tonya Yatachi profile pics. Alright, here, let's see. I don't think her raids are open, but I can post a link in the chat and direct you guys over there. And we can go say hi. She's lovely. She's very sweet. Love Tonya. Shabelle Tonya. Let's see. Enjoyed the stream even though it was late. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. The idea of a man as the provider and a woman as the caretaker, blaming that on society or the patriarchy seems silly to me. I feel like that's just natural and present in all cultures and across history. Yeah. And like there's so many like nuances in ways that comes out in the dynamic of like the individual people, you know, in their relationships, that like not everyone fits into like a stereotypical box, but there's still that like undertone of sort of, yeah, the natural sort of nature that, yeah, comes out in different particular ways, but that like core nature is still there. We'll tell your boss, Pippa, you've been working hard. Thanks. Her streams are now at my chore time, which is kind of nice because I can listen to her while I wash dishes. Because I don't have a dishwasher, sad. Alright, let's see. Let me go over here and set, let's see. Over here, here we go. Here, let me go. All the computer stuff. Let me close this window. Or make that one disappear. Okay. Pop, 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 pop. And now, come over here and let's find, where's my little button for, where's my little edit button? Edit button, there you are. Alright. Any way of, oh yeah, here we go. Can I raid into her now? Ooh, yeah, I can redirect to her. Hurrah, hurrah! Alright, let's go say hi to Tonya! Send her my love. I'll probably pop in for a minute before I go to bed. Alright, thank you. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you for coming to the stream. I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening to my disjointed rambles on things. I had a fun time. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be getting settled, and hopefully I can figure out like a good time to stream consistently again, because it's been several months since I was able to like stream consistently. So hopefully fit in some streaming, hang out with you guys. I've got some fun ideas. Look forward to next week. We're gonna do some off collab with Temp. He's coming to visit. So I get to meet someone from FlaVR in person, which is going to be really fun. So we're excited. And so yeah, that'll be next week. I don't know. I don't know if I'll throw in... honestly, I probably won't throw in any streams before then, because gotta get this place unpacked, because like the rest of our stuff just arrived. So we have like a week to, you know, get things somewhat set up. So anyways... Thank you again. I really appreciate you guys coming and listening to me. And I don't know. I feel like I should say more, but I don't know what to say. I just really appreciate it. I'm really glad you guys are here. And I have a lot of fun with you guys. So until next time, I'm gonna set up the raid. So I think we're set. So as soon as the stream ends, you guys head over there. Oh, I guess since I turned off the lights, my model hasn't been moving. Or maybe because I moved the screen. I just realized I wasn't talking. Oh, there I am. Hello. Late night rambles. Okay, I really should wind down now. I'm not gonna be able to see if I stay up too late. I'm not gonna be able to get those nice 6 a.m. wake ups. But Joe baby fell asleep pretty early this evening, so maybe he'll force me to have my 6 a.m. wake up despite staying up late. Anyway, all right. Go say hello to Tanya. She's great, sweet little tiger. All right, Otsu bread. Thanks for coming. Stay fresh, my friends.